Wish you could become a morning person? You know the type, up before the sun, early morning runs, first one to the office with donuts and a smile. How do they do it? Easy. With the new Galaxy Watch 8, sleep tracking and personalized insights from Samsung Health help you improve so you can wake up to a whole new you. One who, dare I say it, skips the snooze? It's possible. Train your sleep with Galaxy Watch 8. Learn more at Samsung.com. Requires compatible Samsung Galaxy phone, Samsung Health app, and Samsung account.
This episode is brought to you by Indeed. When your computer breaks, you don't wait for it to magically start working again. You fix the problem. So why wait to hire the people your company desperately needs? Use Indeed's sponsored jobs to hire top talent fast. And even better, you only pay for results. There's no need to wait. Speed up your hiring with a $75 sponsored job credit at Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply.
No one should have to choose between their own safety and their pets. But nearly half of domestic abuse survivors delay leaving because they can't bring their pets with them. Purina is helping to create more pet-friendly domestic violence shelters through the Purple Leash Project, so survivors and their pets can escape and heal together. Visit Purina.com/purple to learn more.
Are you a forward thinker? Then you need an HR and finance platform that thinks like you do. Workday is the AI platform that helps propel your organization, your workforce, and your industry into the future. Workday, moving business forever forward.
Did my card go through?
Oh no.
Your small business depends on its internet, so switch to Verizon Business. And you can get LTE business internet starting at $39 a month when paired with select business mobile plans. That's unlimited data for unlimited business.
There we go.
Get the internet you need at the price you want. Verizon Business. Starting price for LTE business internet, 25 megabits per second, unlimited data plan with select Verizon Business smartphone plan savings. Terms apply.
Hello and welcome to Islanders Anxiety from Lighthouse Hockey and the Fans First Sports Network. My name is Dan Saracini. Joining me on this Sunday evening via Zencaster is my friend Michael Lieboff. And Mike, 2-3 is a hell of a lot better than 0-3, which is what the Islanders were at one point this week before picking up a couple of wins against another couple of Canadian teams. They are on the board, somehow participating in the NHL this year, at least for a little while. And we have gotten some good feelings going. We got a new post-game ritual, which I can't wait to talk about because it's right up my alley. And the vibes are a lot better now than they were a week ago when the Islanders were simply 0-2, and actually much better than they were when you left the stadium on Monday afternoon after another loss. So where are you at right now after 5 games with the New York Islanders?
Yeah, I'm involved. Like, I'm in. Yeah, I think part of the frustration of that 0-3 start was when a season comes back, and you had an off season like the Islanders did, where the season essentially ended in the middle of March, and I know there was like a lot of exciting stuff that happened off the ice, but you're chomping at the bit for them to play hockey again and meaningful hockey, and then when you start a season 0-3, and in the fashion they sort of did, which was the problems looked, we'll call it what it was. The problems at the time looked sort of fatal. Like, they looked like unfixable, very hard to fix issues. So you don't even get grabbed, right? Like, you start a season like that and you feel you've been looking forward to the start, and then it starts and you're like, well, what was I even looking forward to? I've got another year until they do it again, which stinks. So it felt like, I think part of the reason I was so bitter after the 0-2 and then the 0-3 start was that I felt like we kind of just we weren't even going to get a chance to get going. And now we do. So they really did grab me. That the win against Edmonton was the first start of, okay, like, let's we'll toe in the water kind of stuff. Is this an outlier? It looked like it was for the beginning of that Ottawa game, and then they kind of really rope you in, and all of a sudden you buckle your seatbelts now because it's for now at least you're part of the ride. And as you said, they get to participate in the NHL, which didn't look likely when I was walking out of the arena on Monday afternoon. So I'm just happy that this isn't a 2008-9 situation or the Scott Gordon stuff where they would just you never feel like the season got going. And at least for now it looks like we're going to be participants, which did not, like I said, did not look likely before. So I'm actually very much looking forward to the game on Tuesday.
Yeah, it's just a brutal way to start the season. Like, it just absolutely
Right.
crushes your enthusiasm. We talked about this on the last episode. The game in Pittsburgh, they played generally okay, ended up on the losing end. It's not, probably not the end of the world, and it sucked, but you knew you had the home opener on Saturday, and then to put up a performance like that on Saturday in your home opener against the Capitals was really awful. And then to follow it with a home game, a matinee game in front of a bunch of kids on Monday, which we're going to talk all about in a minute. Really, I mean, by Tuesday morning, the vibes were absolutely terrible. And like I said, we did a mailbag episode on that Tuesday, and we talked about that Winnipeg game, and the vibes were absolutely rancid. Like, just nobody wanted to talk about them. And here we go. People are already talking about, what if they're going to win the lottery again, draft Gavin McKenna to go along with Schaefer. It was that sort of thing. And then the win against Edmonton on ESPN on Thursday, you got people, okay, they can do this. They can win a game every once in a while. And the game against Ottawa, boy, I have a lot to say about that one. Was great, but it came sort of almost, at the end before, just before time ran out. And it was good that they stuck with it, but boy, there was a lot to not like in that game. But again, we'll get to all that. We have a ton to get to today. We're going to do some more Master Leaf Theater. I promise we have a good reason for it later. We're going to talk about the Iron Man helmet. We're going to talk about ESPN. We're going to talk about all kinds of stuff throughout this episode. Reminder that we are on Patreon, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. The 7-day free trial is still open, so give it a shot today. You can check out our bonus podcast, written posts, and a whole lot more. Or you can just sign up for free and get our weekly release calendar and any announcements. So sign up today, any way you can, patreon.com/Islanders Anxiety. Okay, let us start with the Winnipeg game that is almost a week old at this point. Again, you were there with your daughter. A bunch of kids were there. It was great. It was Casey Cizikas' 900th game, all with the Islanders. It was JG Pageau's 800th game, I guess half of them or so with the Islanders. And the Islanders got off to a great start, which has become a theme so far this season. They outshot the Jets 6-1 in the first few minutes of the game. And then Anders Lee takes an offensive zone penalty, absolutely destroys all the momentum. The Jets take over from this point out. It gets killed, but Morgan Barron gets past Alexander Romanov. Tony DeAngelo has no stick for some reason. It's 1-0 Winnipeg. Cizikas slew foot somebody. The only guy to call him out on it was Cal Clutterbuck, which I thought was kind of funny, which leads to a Nino Ryder goal and a power play from Gustav Nyquist, and welcome back Jonathan Taves. 2-0 Winnipeg. They have a bunch of power plays, nothing going. Pageau redirects a DeAngelo shot, makes it 2-1. And this is classic Islanders, right? It's 2-1. We're back in the game. Okay, let's see if we can tie this sucker up. 14 seconds later, Logan Stanley just clean beats Ilya Sorokin with a wrist shot from about 15 feet out. It was either 5-hole or under the elbow. I'm not even sure. It doesn't matter. 3-1 Winnipeg. Nino Ryder gets another breakaway. He pulls Sorokin out of his net and into the Heineken Terrace, leaving Tanner Pearson to tap in a goal, making 4-1. People are booing. Power plays aren't doing anything for them. Emil Heineman scores his first as an Islander from the dot. Nice keep in by Matthew Schaefer. Gets an assist on that. We'll talk about the point streak at the end there. Mark Scheifele ices it with an empty net goal, makes it 5-2 Winnipeg. Listen, we have dogged Eric Comrie for years on this program as sort of the backup's backup, right? The quintessential NHL backup. It's why he gets work. It's why he's played for a bunch of teams, including the Jets 3 times. He was very good in this game. He made 33 saves. He was awesome. Like, he was perfectly good, what they needed him to be. Sorokin had a couple of bad ones against him, and again, becoming a theme. The mistakes just killed him. They outshot the Jets 35-26, but it didn't do them a whole lot of good. Again, after this game, they're 0-3. Vibes are shit. The kids are not happy. Nobody's happy, and it just sucks. And you were there. So I was able to just turn the game off and go on with the rest of my day off. But you had to watch this in person with your daughter, and I'm assuming you tried to keep a brave face throughout this entire ordeal.
Yeah, it was an appropriate first game to bring Isla to introduce her to the Islanders, but she had a blast too. So that like it really complicated I had to separate the joy from, I felt from Isla really having a good time at an Islander game for their first time. We missed the entire second period. We ran into our good friend Nick in the concourse. Isla was doing some coloring Sparky and Niles and shopping and all sorts of stuff. And so that was, it was a ton of fun just to get that experience. And as I drove home with her, she nodded off in the car, and I had this like weird, I guess you would say, inner monologue with myself about, should I even do this? Should I be doing this to her? Right. Like, I feel like if, cause she had such a good time that if she, her and, my daughter, Emmy, like if they become Islander fans, like what am I signing them up for? And I'm sure every parent has this conversation with themselves when you're an Islander fan or like a Jets fan, Mets, go down the list of teams like that. And I truly meant it. Like I wasn't even, doing it to be melodramatic with myself or anything like that. It was, I was actually weighing the pros and cons, because what if they really get into it and they're then stuck like we are, where we just can't get off the ride. Like we're so, the sunk cost is so immense. And about halfway home, I realized that the reason this is all happening is because this team absolutely womped out of the gate of the season. That there was, the new era, all this exciting stuff, and the Islanders then just, like a horse at the starting gate that like they open the gate and they just are like, nah, I'm gonna throw off my jockey instead. That's what it felt like. So and then I started to get mad at the Islanders for this all happening inside my own head, right? And I'm like, well, this is exactly what I don't want to happen to my daughters. So one loss on a Monday afternoon in October against the Winnipeg Jets sent me into this weird existential spiral. And that's the last thing I'd wish for them, and it's also the first thing I'd wish for them too. Like and so like all these complicated feelings are all jamming into one. It's because Ilya Sorokin couldn't make a save. The Islanders couldn't get on the board after several grade A chances. Man, I think it was Barzell had a really good chance like right off the bat. The first shift was they were buzzing, and I was like, wow, this would be I think she would be dyed in the wool after 2 minutes. If they score, the goal horn goes off, she gets to chant and scream yes, yes, yes. 2 minutes within 2 minutes of sitting down in her seat, that would that would be awesome. And instead it was kind of quite the opposite, where it was just they don't score, they take the penalty, the wind gets sucked out of the sails, and you just know, like this, if you were an Islander fan of this era and you've watched this team since the 21-22 season started, you knew exactly how that power play was going to end. It was going to end with the Jets either scoring on it or because of it, which is what ended up happening. It was calamity of errors with Tony DeAngelo. He's played half the season either like falling down or without a stick. I feel like him and Romanov, every time they've stepped on the ice together, that like it's like I don't know, like trumpet sound, like it's I can't do it, but when like
it's yakety sax,
yakety sax, basically, like and it's like those when they're on the ice, like that's playing in my head right now because it's so Looney Tunes. So I mean, it was not the way that I wanted it all to start, but by the end of it, it was great. It was superhero day, so there was one part where Niles beat the snot out of the Joker, which was a highlight for Isla. But now I think she thinks the Joker is going to be at every Islander game. So I was like, "Do you want to go to another Islander game?" She's like, "Yeah, we'll go see the Islanders and we'll see Sparky and Niles and the Joker." And now I got to figure out a way to make sure that the Joker's at every game. That she
just
just
say he went back to Gotham City. He's back in Arkham Asylum. That's what happens.
We were watching the Oilers game, and she's like, "Where's Joker?" And I'm like, "Well, he's there. He's there somewhere. He's wearing the Islander jersey. I'm sure he's one of those guys." But it was. I mean, so it was two different things, right? It was an absolute horror show of a loss because they and like thinking back on it, I was like, the Islanders at least they didn't play that poorly, but anyways, they lost. They go to 0-3, so I'm very upset about that. But compartmentalize that. I had a really good time with her on my on her first game, and that was great. And I do think it is appropriate, looking back 15, 20 years from now, be like, well, yeah, I remember that game that the Islanders obviously lost. Like, they can't win for your first game. So
yeah. Well, it's fun. Like, that's what we do on this show, right? We think big picture. You're thinking big picture. It's not just her first game. You're thinking about her entire life as an Islanders fan. Should this hook into her, which is what happened to us. And like I said, I took my daughter Josie to her first game. Was that what we thought was the last year at Nassau Coliseum, because I wanted to take her and my wife, and with my dad, who had taken me to games, when I was a kid. And she doesn't remember anything about it except for the popcorn and like seeing Sparky. Like, again, the kids love Sparky. We said this in the mailbag episode. Yeah. If you're ever like, oh, why do they have Sparky? Well, who cares? The kids love Sparky. Like, you can't. That's a relationship you can't buy. Like, it's just the kids love him. And even if it's not for you, you're an adult, whatever, you don't care. I get it. But like, you don't understand the degree at which kids love this guy.
Yeah. So I saw someone, a friend of ours, who works in like for Con Ed or one of those companies, on the way out of the arena, and Isla had a Sparky chain around her neck, and so this guy was like, "Oh, nice, you saw Sparky?" And he's a Ranger fan, and she's like, "Yeah, I saw Sparky and Niles and the Joker," and he's like, "I gotta say, like, I actually really like Sparky. Like, he's a great mascot. It makes no sense in my head. Like, I don't understand why you guys have a dragon." And I was like, "It's gonna be way too long a story to get into on the corner in the rain right now." But it exactly. And
yeah.
But he is cool. Great. Yeah, he's cool as shit.
Yeah, he does the job. Like, the kids love him, right? So and like, you're thinking of all this stuff, and the reality is she's gonna grab on. She's gonna grab onto it whether you want her to or not. Like, that's just how it is. My daughter hasn't. Again, we've been to another game, but she remembers that one because she went when she was a little older, and that was the Matt Barzell hat trick game against Winnipeg at Barclays Center. So she remembers that, and she'll take those memories with her, and the fact that they lost and were 0-3 and did all these shitty, awful things, that bothers you. That's not gonna bother her at all. She's just gonna have a good time, and just definitely tell her that Batman apprehended the Joker, send him back to Arkham Asylum. It's a matter of time before he breaks out again. So maybe he will show up at another game. That's just what he does, right? That's what the Joker does at this point. We're all pretty familiar with him. But yeah, this game was not good. It was not a good game. It came at the worst possible time. And this is what I want to say. I think this team, we're going to get into this as we talk about the other games too, but like, this team doesn't really seem to rise to the moment as often as we wish they would. They would pick up 2 wins later on, but I really feel like they might be better if maybe they and maybe I'm just making too much of this because we're both dads with little girls, but like, I wish they understood that every game might be somebody's first game, and it really behooves them to give everything they have for every game, especially a home game. Like, again, if you're going to stink on the road, right? Like, that's what everybody always says. But like, at home, you don't know how, and especially a game like that, man, there's 1 million kids in the stands. That was how many kids were there for their first game. Like, and that's the performance you put on. I was incensed. Like, I was mad for probably about 48 hours after that. Somehow we did that mailbag episode, which you can still listen to at patreon.com/IslandersAnxiety. But this to me was more egregious even still than the home opener loss. Like, that one sucked too, and that really bothered me. But man, this one, it's like, you guys can't even be bothered to play a matinee game on a holiday in front of a bunch of kids. Like, what are we even doing here? Like, what is going on? What is the impetus? What more motivation do you need? Like, come out and win a game. And I guess that the Jets are really good, and Eric Comrie did his best Connor Hellebuck impression. Maybe they switched jerseys or something for that day. But this one really bugged me. and I was bugged all that day. You know, it sucks to be like mad on your day off. And then I was mad all the next day because I had to go back to work. And I was thinking about this and thinking about, you know, what we were going to say about it this week. So this one really sucked. And it sucked again. It's Casey Zizekia's 900th game. I wanted to enjoy it. I wanted to enjoy JG Pajot's 800th game. He had a goal, which was pretty cool. But there was not a lot to like about this game. And, you know, again, Nito Niederreiter are pulling Sorokin out of that net just to tap in, let Tanner Pearson tap in. I go, that was when I was like, I should turn this game off. But of course I kept on watching.
Yeah.
Which was unfortunate.
It was when the Islanders had, you know, all that, when Pajot scored, I was in the concourse, and so you hear the, you know, we're watching on the TV the replay and all that, and then Isla was just, you know, coloring away. So I was like, okay, we're back in, and hopefully by the time we get back to our seats, it's, you know, we got a game on our hand. And you just heard even from the concourse just groans.
Yeah.
And I think the way you looked at it was right, which is you're already down 2-0. You're 0-2 on the season. You got all these kids in the building. You already blew the home opener. You're supposed to come out of this. You did come out for this game like a house on fire, but you did it for 2 minutes. Like, that's not meeting the moment. And then you find a way to claw your way back in the game, and within 13 seconds, it's back to being another womp womp situation. And to me, we've been talking about finding the identity of this team for a while and how they just haven't had one. And at that moment, that to me was the identity of the team, which was that their identity is they take the wind out of your sails. And maybe I'm wrong. Hopefully I'm proven wrong about that. It looks like they're taking the steps in the right direction. But at that moment, that to me was like this era, this mini era, whatever you want to talk about it, this transition, the new era Islanders,
right?
They feel like they just are very, very, very good at taking the wind out of your sails, and they did put him back in. They did put the wind back in on Tuesday night, or whatever it was, Thursday night.
Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Well, that's great. So we can move on to the game against the Oilers on Thursday night. So yeah, this has become the theme where like they come out like a house on fire for the first 5 minutes, and then they just kind of like wilt and stop playing at that point. And what bothers me is that I know that when they lose these games, I know they're going to give the same soundbite at the end, which is, we did some good things. And I'm always like, were the good things the first 5 minutes of the game? Because that's the only good thing that you did. And sure enough, they kind of started that way against Edmonton too. It was all Islanders early. Kyle Palmieri hits a post right off the bat. Steve Levy is beside himself, and Ray Ferraro beside themselves, because chances are 11-3 Islanders midway through the period. And Ray Ferraro is just like, how could they not have more goals? This should be 4-0 right now. Like, I don't understand why they're having all these chances and not scoring. And I felt like being like, Ray, my friend, you know, a great Islander, a guy we all respect very much. This is what this team is, man. Like, they just don't score goals that often. Barzal at one point strips Evan Bouchard. We're going to talk a lot about him in a minute. Makes it gets on a breakaway, makes it 1-0. Mayfield takes a penalty. McDavid to Draisaitl. The game is tied. Surprise, surprise. Edmonton keeps turning the puck over the whole period. Really, the whole game, they just kept turning the puck over to the Islanders. Duclair gets a couple of chances in front at the end of the period. Again, Ferraro and Levy are just beside themselves. Like, they can't understand why the game is tied and the Islanders are up like 5-1. Second period, the Oilers decide to, play a little bit. A turnover at the blue line leads to a Ryan Nugent-Hopkins wrister. It's 2-1. Bo Horvat gets the first of 3 on the night. Shorthanded breakaway goal ties the game at 2. Under 5 minutes left. Horvat again from Schaefer and Barzal. Right as the power play starts, right in that bumper spot. Great. Makes it 3-1 Islanders. 3-2 Islanders. And then the Oilers start pressing, but Jonathan Drouin, who I think I might love a little bit, he's played great so far, steals the puck. Darnell Nurse wipes out at center ice. It's kind of funny. And then he passes to Horvat, who steals it. Empty netter. Hat trick goal. Really great. Very understated celebration by Bo. We'll get to the post game in the locker room in a minute. And it was 4-2 Islanders. Really nice game. It didn't hurt that the Oilers were kind of all out of sorts. They lost again today. They've lost like 3 or 4 in a row. Things are bad up there. David Rittich also shut us up. Here we are talking about Eric Comrie. David Rittich comes up huge. 31 saves. He was great. He was really, really good in that game. Stuart Skinner, not so much. It was a bit of a track meet. Evan Bouchard had maybe the worst game of his career. Ray Ferraro was all over him. Edmonton media has been all over him. The Oilers were extremely sloppy, and Matthew Schaefer, by the way, has at that point had 4 points in 4 games. You get to 5 in a minute. But this was, since the Penguins game, this was the best game the Islanders played. It wasn't perfect, but they came back. They stuck with it. Again, the Oilers may not have been at peak, but hey, that's the way it works. And the Islanders took advantage. And hey, Bo Horvat has a hat trick. Can't go wrong with that. Only his second career hat trick.
I couldn't believe that. Yeah.
But you were just talking about putting wind back in the sails. Game like this definitely did, and it made for the Friday a lot more fun. That okay, finally there's a win. It was against a good team, and it was a fun game.
Yeah, I was not really looking forward to the game because I was like everyone else, kind of resigned to the fact that the Islanders were about to start 0-4, and you heard in the beginning of the broadcast they were the only team without a point. And I was like, great, like this is gonna get ugly. Then they're staring down 0-5 on Saturday, not gonna be fun. And it was like a bit of a heart attack win, but that was going to be the only way the Islanders were going to win this game. And we do always say, like, when an Islanders player is not playing well, that we'll say, oh, Ryan Pollock's playing, he's playing for the Blue Jackets tonight or that night. And I don't know if I've ever seen a player play for the other team more than I saw Evan Bouchard play for the Islanders on Thursday night. I couldn't believe it. It was almost catching the Islanders by surprise. I feel like they're like, you almost half expected after his 5th or 6th turnover of the first period for when he turned the puck over to Anthony Duclair, for Duclair to just pass it back and be like, dude, just try again. Like you get a mulligan on that. I don't want to keep picking on you. And and he was torn to shreds that night, the next day by just about everyone. And I thoroughly enjoyed it because he's what a lot of the people whose opinion I really respect, Boomer Gordon put it perfectly too, was like, this guy is an analytics darling because he scores a lot of points, and he scores a lot of points because he plays with Connor McDavid on the power play. But if you take analytics for what they're meant for, which is to like enhance and help you answer questions rather than just be the gospel, you watch that game and you're like, this guy has these kind of mistakes in his game, and that's why the fans and people get frustrated. The people who watch him all the time are like, yeah, your numbers say that, but I watch this guy every day and he does stupid stuff like this way far too often. And that's how we have felt about Noah Dobson too, which is like, yeah, like numbers are good defenseman, I get it, but he's going to drive you nuts with some of the decisions he makes, and he makes the ones he makes on a regular basis. So that was a little cathartic. But then just generally, that game felt like one that I don't know if the Islanders will play a team that plays a worse game than they did relative to like their skill level than the Oilers do all season. So if you don't get that win, you can just cancel, you could write off the season. But they were good. Yeah. That first line with Drouin and Horvat, I like Drouin a lot as well. He's, I feel like Emil Heineman is a throwback to like the 90s Dallas Stars. They always had those, kind of like, gopher hounds, whatever you want to call guys who would go dig the puck into the corner. They were always Finnish. And they would always score between like 12 and 20 goals a season. And then in the playoffs, they would just go off because they are just, these rugged, kind of gritty, grindy forwards. And that's what Finns were to me in the NHL for forever. They were like just these scrappy guys. And that's what Emil Heineman reminds me of. And the Drouin reminds me of that a type of player I feel like the Islanders have never had, which is those thorny but skilled French Canadians. Max, he's a better player than Max Talbot, and I can't stand Max Talbot, and so I hate myself for doing this, but he's just the first one that jumps to my head. I mean, even Claude Giroux a little bit is like this too. They're very skilled. They have an underrated kind of dirty streak, which we saw in game 1 from Drouin. He was already suspended this season, but he's immensely skilled. But at any moment, he is so volatile that he could win or lose you a game in the blink of an eye, it feels like. And I feel like the Islanders haven't had this kind of French Canadian type player in a long time. And that area for some reason produces these kind of players more than anywhere. And I'm really into it. I think it's a lot of fun. And as weird as it is to see him wearing number 29, I feel like this is the kind of player you want, because Brock Nelson had that very subtle, dirty, cheapskatey side to him, and I think Joanne pays homage to that pretty well with the way he does it. God, what's the guy? There's a guy in Slapshot with who's sticking out to me, but too, like a French Canadian kind of guy. And but that's when's the last time the Islanders had one like this?
Yeah. Oh well, no, I mean, maybe P.A. Parento, I guess.
Yeah,
like,
I mean, even Pajot, like he's not even.
Yeah.
Pajot's not. He's pesky. He's not downright, dirty.
Yeah.
This is a very different kind of player. Like Max Talbot is as I keep saying, is the one that jumps.
He's more of like an instigator. Like, I don't mean that in like a fighting sense. I mean, like, he's trying to make stuff happen. Like, again, that at the end of that game, their Oilers are buzzing. They got the empty net. They're trying to get something happen, and he's just like in there trying to jar the puck loose. It finally gets loose. He's the one who breaks out with it. I mean, I couldn't really see because like the boards were there, and by the time Darnell Nurse turns around, he's on his ass. These two guys are in the Oilers zone, and of course, the best part, as cheesy as it may sound, is he passes to Horvat, recognizing that he's got the hat trick, and it's an unselfish play. I mean, he could have picked up a goal, but he didn't need it, and Horvat got the hat trick. So it was a great game. It was a fun game. Again, far from perfect, but it was good. And I got to, what? Again, never let it be said that we are afraid to, mea culpa or apologize or like change our minds or something like that. This was a game on ESPN, and I got to tell you, I enjoyed the broadcast thoroughly. It was when it's Steve Levy and Ray Ferraro on the call. To me, I like it. Levy is a voice I'm comfortable with. Ferraro is arguably the best in the business right now. They had Buccigross in the studio where he belongs. He's minimized contact with the audience. And John Tortorella was next to him. And you know what? I thought that was okay. Like, that's fine by me. Torts is Torts, right? He's not going to get too crazy. But I actually quite enjoyed the broadcast. They are on ESPN again next week against the Hurricanes. Hopefully it's the same setup. It probably won't be, but I enjoyed the game, warts and all. And more than anything, it was a game the Islanders needed more than anything else. Like they really needed it. And sorry, one last thing on Bouchard. So in reading Oilers, writers and stuff like that, it's always been like, well, you got to take the good with the bad when it comes to Bouchard, because the good is very, very good. I don't think anybody quite expected the bad to be quite this bad. Like, what the hell are you doing out there bad? Like, did you just wake up? Like, were you out drinking last night? They took the train to the game, and Mark Spector wrote the train wreck would come later, thanks to Evan Bouchard. So like, they had some fun with that. And again, the Oilers are kind of in a rough spot right now, trying to get back to the Cup final for the third time and win it. They certainly can, but this was not their trip. But between the Rangers, Islanders, Devils, and now Red Wings, this has not been a fun East Coast swing for the Oilers. But hey, the Islanders needed a win and they got it. So can't really argue too much.
And as you said, the broadcast was that. There's the one thing I'll say about it was I think if you still put that broadcast next to what we were watching in 2016 on NBC Sports, it would pale in comparison. But the bar is so low on ESPN that we're like, that's if we can just get that every day, every time we tune in, it'll be enough. And that's with as you said, like those two are a good combination. Levy doesn't try to. He does shout a lot, but I mean they all do at this point, so it's just I'm like numb to it. But he doesn't try the Bucci shtick of talking in TikTok language or whatever. He's just gonna call the game and then let Ferraro kind of be the authoritative voice, and Ray was doing a great job of that. And what I always love about tuning into when Ferraro's on the broadcast is, whenever the Islanders come up, he always says, that was the best time of my career. I loved playing for the Islanders and for Islander fans. And I just like hearing that kind of stuff. And, but yeah, it just overall, it was a very pleasant experience to watch. They talked a lot about Matthew Schaefer. Yeah. And I just want to say one thing about him, which is what's really amazing about this start that he's had. Well, two points is, one, I thought Noah Dobson was like a really good, talented number one defenseman in waiting. Mm-hmm. I think he showed his true colors a little bit the last 2 seasons. That he's a good defenseman, but probably not going to be the guy you want to build a Stanley Cup caliber blue line around. But now watching Schaefer, you can see the gap between Dobson, like a Dobson type, or going back to number one defenseman, Mark Streit, who we both love and hold in high regard. You can see what the gap is between players like that and like a truly gifted blue line cornerstone like Schaefer. And I know it's only 4 games in, but like just talent wise and how he impacts the game, you can see like, oh well, Noah Dobson would never even try that because he knows he's not good enough. And this guy's doing it game 4 of the season. He's keeping plays alive, holding pucks in at the zone, joining rushes, making great passes. Like it's everything's so fluid. So that's one thing. And the other thing I want to say is that this is just the beginning. Like he's likely the most talented player we've ever watched. As Islander fans,
certainly trending that way. Yeah.
Sure. Right. Like it's exactly like there's a chance that he is, I should say, right. We don't know that yet. And what's wild about that is like, this is just the beginning where, I think Aaron Judge is like a good kind of example of this. Is as Yankee fans would tell you, like, this guy is just unbelievably good, a joy to watch, etc. But it took some time for him to get there.
Right.
Whereas this guy's already sent that flare up in the sky. Like, you got to just pay attention from the beginning because we're like, we are in the good old days. We and that's really it's taking a lot of getting used to because that's never happened to us as Islander fans. Like even Tavares when he started,
right?
It was that guy's great, but and I could see why. But it's more about his motor and his strength and whatever. He's not gonna just come in and take over a game or impact a game. Like he'll win his minutes and he'll grind and he'll try his ass off, whatever. So this is something entirely different, and I'm still not used to it at all. Like it's taking a lot of getting used to be like, oh, that guy's on the Islanders. Like I'm watching the Islanders play with this guy, and he's wearing that jersey. So
it's going to be very hard to trust him to be this every single day. And that's not really his fault. It's our fault, right?
Right, it's our fault.
Right. Like we're not used to this,
Right.
And Tavares is a good example because he came in as an 18-year-old kid and really the way he carried himself was of a professional guy, right? And like he carried himself like a guy who'd been in the league for 10 years, but he was 18. And so the idea was like, well, he's very good. He didn't come anywhere close to like winning the Calder trophy or anything. And he never did at that. And at no point were we like, oh, maybe he wins the Calder. Like he didn't come in and like score 50 goals or something like that. I don't even know who won the Calder that year. It might have been the Barrett Jackman year. I'm not even sure. But like, he carried himself in a way that most Islanders had, which is like, we can win here. And, it was clear that he was going to be the captain at some point. And like, he was a good player on a team that needed like a North Star, a guy who can kind of guide them. Schaefer has come in and is just like a tornado. He's doing things that we haven't seen anybody do. Like, I mean, that first goal was crazy. The way he's just come in and been like, no, I'm just going to knife through the rest of the defense here. I'm just going to like, he got put on power play 1 and people were like, oh, they're putting the kid on power play 1. Who else was there? Friggin' Tony DeAngelo, like a replacement level player. Like, so why wouldn't he be on power play 1? So it's going to take a while to kind of get to the level of like, we trust this guy to just do these things game in and game out. But I mean, I think we are getting there. And actually that's a great way to get to our final game of the week, which was the Islanders' second win, back-to-back win in a game I didn't think they were going to win, 5-4 win in Ottawa. And as great as Matthew Schaefer has been so far this season, I actually thought he was pretty bad in this game. I was not, really enamored with his play. But then again, both teams sucked in this game, and particularly on defense. I don't know if maybe Schaefer had his entire family in the stands. His grandparents were there. They were interviewed by Shannon Hogan on MSG. It was very cute. Hey, listen, it's his fifth game of his career. Stuff like this is going to happen. But I didn't think he played particularly well, but no defenseman on either side played particularly well. We're going to get to Jordan Spence in a few minutes. But the Islanders start out all on fire. They get the first 5 shots or, whatever it was. The first 5 minutes was all Islanders. All of a sudden they have a bad shift, which Schaefer was on the ice for. And then all of a sudden the Senators took over. And David Perron scores with 3 seconds left on a power play. Really kind of sucked the wind out of everything. Second period, Schaefer takes a penalty. Shane Pinto slap shot, 2-0 Ottawa. Heineman gets one back, 2-1. I'm still not sure how this went in. Pinballed off of somebody, I guess. Whatever, we'll take it. Horvat ties the game at 2. Beautiful pass and a keep in from Ryan Pulock. So Horvat at it again. Schaefer, and this was where I started to think, you know what, this game, he just doesn't have it. He does what my friend Will used to say when we used to go to games, the matador defense. Like he's kind of poking the stick at the guy as he's skating backwards, like, have at you. Doesn't work on Tim Stützle. Shoots a wrister pass. Sorokin makes it 3-2 Ottawa. We'll talk a lot about Sorokin in a minute too. But then he kind of makes up for it, gets it to Shabanov, comes around the net, whips it past Anders Lee's screen, ties the game at 3. The goal would later be credited to Lee. So he ended up with 2 goals and 2 assists in that game. But at the time it was Shabanov. He kind of made the whole play anyway. Again, nice pass by Schaefer. And then you're like, okay, great. It's tied. Then what happens? Kyle McLean, who has been inserted the game before, makes an incredibly stupid neutral zone turnover right by the Islanders' blue line, ends up on the stick of Nick Cousins, wrister into the top corner, and it's 4-3 Ottawa after 2. I mean, I'll get to McLean in a second. Let me finish this. So the Islanders start on the power play. Pinto gets loose again. Schaefer kind of takes him down. Honestly, I was listening to this game on the radio while I was picking up my daughter, this part on the radio. And Sorokin wasn't great in this game, but he made a stop on this penalty shot, which is basically the biggest save you could make in this game. Barzell, nice drop pass to Kyle Palmieri. Rister ties the game at 4. They go back and forth. With 1 minute left to go, the puck gets loose and starts sliding towards the Ottawa end. Anders Lee races after it. Not the fleetest foot guy, as you know, respectfully. Defenseman Jordan Spence is there. Lee gets to the puck before Spence, basically outmuscles Spence, gets alone in front of the net, turns around, 5-hole on Linus Ullmark, 5-4 Islanders with a minute to go. And that was how it would end. They would, the Senators really didn't threaten all that much with the empty net. And it was 5-4 Islanders. And that shot right there, my friends, is your Vanda Pharmaceuticals shot of the week. Get vaccinated today. So again, neither defense played well in this game. They were all over the place. Jordan Spence ends up wearing the goat horns for this one, but nobody played well. Like, they were all terrible. D'Angelo was even worse in this game. Oh, Romanov missed this game because he was hurt, so Boakfist went in. He didn't play all that well either. So nobody played well in this game. Patrick Waugh later said it was exciting, even though, the defenses weren't that good. Sorokin made 29 saves, let up a couple of bad goals, but again, made the biggest save you can make. Ullmark made 18. Again, just didn't have it for a couple of goals. And 5 points in 5 games for Schaefer. Even in a bad game, he could have a point, which is pretty good. And I can't imagine he's going to, let this one sit. I'm sure he knows very well that he did not play particularly well in this game. But again, this was a game the Islanders needed to win. They won it. They deserve credit for it. But this was very bad. And I'm going to throw it to you first before I decide to take the knives out for D'Angelo and McLean. What you thought of this one, and if you kind of saw it the same way I did. A fun game, poorly played by a lot of different guys.
See, it sounds like a buddy cop. D'Angelo and McLean. This was an interesting one. I frankly had no idea that this was going to be a 3:00 start. I forgot.
I saw that a lot online.
Yeah, and nobody, a lot of people were like, why are the Islanders on right now?
Right.
Did they just decide, hey, you want to just get this over with early? Especially because it was Saturday night. So usually the Canadian teams are all dropping the puck if they're at home at 7. And, but yeah, we got the 3:00 start. So I had to watch this one delayed, and a very strange experience to go through when with the way that the pattern of this game went on. So I will say, yeah, it was the type of game where I still don't believe the Islanders won, because we've seen them lose in that fashion so many times.
Yeah.
Where they're the ones coughing up the lead and they're letting the other team come back into it. Everyone's playing terrible.
Yeah.
And then with 3 minutes left, 2 minutes left, 1 minute left, 20 seconds left, the Detroit Red Wings score a goal and we don't even get a point out of it, right? Like
there was a lot of playing like assholes in this game.
Yeah, everybody seemed to be doing that. There was but then there's some good, and Schaefer, I think pretty objectively his worst game out of the 5, and still picks up a point and has like a positive impact when it matters. So once again, it's gonna, as you said, it's gonna take some getting used to here. Like and you put it right by saying like it's not him, like it's not his fault that he's just too good for us. It's our fault for being so emotionally shattered that we won't trust somebody that good
Right.
that's
Yeah.
wearing an Islanders jersey. Like, man, it's taken us a long time to trust Matt Barzal. We had to kind of like beat into him like you're really
Yeah.
really good at hockey, but you better not produce all that much.
Mm.
You know, your rookie year was great, but you got to have to tone it down a notch because you're an Islander. So it's going to take some getting used to from us, and we apologize in advance for that because it's just it's really hard to wrap your head around. And once again, this is just the beginning, right? So it's hard that itself is also hard to kind of fathom.
Mm.
But so he has a positive impact. I thought the Barzal play with Palmieri that ended up in the back of the net. I feel, you know, there's all this talk about Barzal about, oh, is he overrated or underrated, and by, you know, people who aren't Islander fans. And what I'll say about him is I've watched him make plays like that his whole career, and so rarely does he get rewarded with the Islanders scoring or him scoring. It's usually a drop pass to somebody, or
Right.
he rings one off. Someone rings one off the post, or a stick snaps, or you know, whatever. A shot gets blocked and it goes the other way and ends up in the back of the net for the other team. So it was just really nice to see him get rewarded for that goal. Love Shabanov too. So you were saying about Drouin, like I kind of love him. I feel the same way about Shabanov.
Yeah.
I feel like he's when the Islanders traded for Richard Zednik, I was like, that's what I thought we were getting. I was like, we're gonna get this kind of guy with this greasy looking guy with the long hair coming out of his helmet, and they kind of look alike. And Shabanov he's a lot of fun to watch. I'm very excited to see where this goes with him. Love the stick twirl celebration. If he was a Maple Leaf, if he did that celebration, Luke Fox Jukebox would have run to get his quill to start getting the analogies out. So that, I mean, there was a lot of junk going on in this game. Ugh. But the Islanders were just able to rise above it, which is something that they haven't been able to do. And what it does is it sets up this really fascinating game on Tuesday, if we can talk about it, which is like they're playing the Sharks. The Sharks haven't won yet. The Sharks are traveling across the country to play the Islanders. The Islanders have fought back to 2-3 after the 0-3 start. We were writing them off. Everyone was, and this is kind of where we learned: is this team going to be take the wind out of your sails team, or are they actually gonna make hay here? And of course, it has to be the worst team in the league that they're going to have this this junction with, right?
Right.
So and there's a lot of funny storylines with the two most recent number one picks going against each other, then number one and number two from this draft. Schaefer, the Sharks had the best odds for Schaefer, which, you know, when I think about him too, I'm like, I've seen other teams have these kind of players before, and that's why I still don't trust that he's actually on our team, because the Islanders haven't had him, and I've seen the Sharks get players like this, and I've seen the Oilers, and so there's all these storylines, and for the Islanders, it's, hey, all you need to do is beat the worst team in the league, right. And if you do that, you've earned our trust back that you're going to make this season at least interesting.
Yeah.
And as I think what the theme of the season is going to be is we're not really asking for much, because the expectations are not high. This isn't a playoff or bust season from anybody in the fan base or anywhere. This is just make it worth our time season. And that is a low bar for a sports team to, there's usually like 8 teams out of a quarter of the league get expectations that low. Yeah. And the Islanders get to be one this year. So if you can't beat the Sharks, we have every right to be pissed mad at you.
Yeah.
As a fan base.
Yeah.
So and it's just not asking much.
No, we said this on the mailbag too, where it's just like, like you said, we're not expecting a ton, but and there's a lot of people who have been like, well, I'm glad they're losing. Like, I want them to lose. They're better off losing. They got a higher draft pick. Maybe they can draft Gavin McKenna, blah, 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 all this stuff. First of all, I hate that shit. Like, we've been over this. I can't root for this team to lose. I can accept that they're not going to be that good and probably not going to be in the playoffs and be okay with that. But at the same time, this is my hobby. Like, this is my relaxation time. This is what I watch after work when I'm done with dinner. I sit down, my wife and I sit down on the couch. She watches something on TV. I watch a game on the computer. I don't want to watch this team lose 40 games a year. Like, I'm not going to put, thousands of hours into watching a team fart around just so they can lose, just so somebody can be like, oh, that's great, they're going to get a higher draft pick. Like, that sucks. And I feel like, and again, I don't want to generalize, but I feel like a lot of people that say that don't watch every single game, because if you're not watching every game, who cares if they lose? You wake up the next day and you're like, oh, they lost. Great. If you're watching the game, I don't want to watch them lose. Why would I want to watch them? But at the same time, if you're going to lose, you could put in an effort. And like, that's the thing I want to see. And I want to see an effort. I want to see a team trying to at least win and put together something that I can grab onto for the future. And that being said, I don't think it was last year. I think it was the year before. It was still under Lane Lambert. At one point, I described an Islanders game as a never-ending parade of inexcusable bullshit. And that was what was making me so mad. It was just inexcusable bullshit, just turnovers and bad, clears on the penalty kill, and just like dumb stuff that junior teams don't do. And as happy as I was that they won this game, and thank you, Anders Lee, very much, by the way, who, by the way, I was preparing to go off on this episode because he had been, I thought, played very poorly for the first 5 games of the season, resurrected himself, in a big way. To me, this game was a parade of inexcusable bullshit. Again, when you're on the penalty kill, thank God the Senators didn't get more than, they only had 2 power plays in this game. Of course, they scored on one of them. Had they had more than power plays, the Islanders would have lost this game 8-3. Like, they would have gotten completely killed because they could not clear the puck on the penalty kill. What are you doing? Like, where the line is, get the puck over the line. They're just sort of shoveling up like a farmer. And it never gets over the line. And it happens over and over and over again on both the power plays. The turnover right inside the neutral zone, right next to the Islanders' blue line by Kyle McLean that led to Nick Cousins' goal. Like, why is Kyle McLean still here? Like, if this was a team that, was operating under normal circumstances, Kyle McLean would not have come out of the locker room for the third period, and he would have been on a bus back to Bridgeport. Like, his dad doesn't work here anymore. That playoff series was 2 years ago. We don't need to see Kyle McLean anymore. We know what we're getting from Kyle McLean. This, to me, is inexcusable bullshit. What are you doing out there? And D'Angelo's entire season so far has been inexcusable bullshit. He was our weirdest Islander last year. It was weird that he was here. We gave him that. He played totally fine. He was a totally normal player last year, which for Tony D'Angelo was like, kind of a miracle a little bit. People treated him like he was Phil Housley or Al McGinnis, and he's not. He is a completely replacement level player, and he doesn't need to play every game, let alone 25 minutes a game. It feels like he's never not on the ice. Why is that? Why is he still doing this? This is another experiment that I think we can start to wrap it up on. And if their goal is the playoffs, these guys can't keep doing this shit. And it just trickles down, and it was driving me nuts, and it made the end result kind of bittersweet, because as excited as I was that they won and happy and I laughed about it that they won, this game was packed to the gills with inexcusable bullshit. The giving up a goal 14 seconds after you tie the game or whatever it was, like, that's more inexcusable bullshit. You can't do that. You got to stop that. And the coach maybe isn't the guy to stop the inexcusable bullshit. The last guy wasn't, although his team is playing well right now. And I mean, you're the coach. Isn't that your job? Is to like minimize and stop inexcusable bullshit? Why do we have to put up with this? I don't understand. This shouldn't be the standard. You have a kid who, is coming in here and like changing how the team is perceived and what they can do. We shouldn't have to put up with bullshit turnovers in the neutral zone right outside the blue line that lead directly to goals. Like, it just drives me nuts. So stop doing that, and you probably will be the Sharks on Tuesday.
Right.
And we'll get to the other 2 games in a minute, but like, this game was very bittersweet for me. I'm glad they won it. Again, Anders Lee, all the kudos in the world. We'll talk about the Iron Man helmet in the second half, but the first 58 minutes of this game, or 59 minutes of this game, I was really, really pissed off, and I was about to unload on these guys, and I guess I just kind of did, but they won.
Right,
so I guess
they won.
I can't unload that much.
So that's the funny thing. Like, if they had lost that game, man, it would we're it's a completely different episode, right? And
yeah,
we're completely different conversation. But they win, and now they have a chance to to not look that gift horse in the mouth and build something off of it. Which more often than not for the past few seasons, when they have these games where there's just a parade of inexcusable bullshit, they lose, and they lose in pretty heartbreaking fashion, whether it's a broken stick that leads to a breakaway or the Blackhawks shenanigans or going back to the Stadium Series. Like they've had so many games like this where they lost the Devils in regulation. They remember last year, like I think it was 2 games against the Devils, or maybe it was 2 years ago. They as we say, they blend together. And they would just give up a goal with like 3 minutes left and whatever. We'd be pissed off, and they'd ruin your night. They'd ruin your next day too, because you'd wake up and you got that 3 or 4 seconds where you're foggy and you're like, wait, why am I mad? And you're like, oh, I'm mad because Kyle McLean turned the puck over and the Islanders lost. And but they end up not doing that, and that took some getting used to too. I really had a tough time believing that they won that game. Especially with the penalty shot against, and I was like, that was an amazing play, I thought, by Schaefer. He gets the puck first, and they still give him the penalty shot.
The broadcast was convinced he had all puck there.
Yeah.
Again, I didn't see it because I was listening on the radio.
I thought it was a great play, but and then you think Sorokin has been bad, and he makes the save. So everybody sort of redeemed themselves, but by winning. But they're all still, for the most part, I shouldn't say they're all, but a bunch of them are still on thin ice here. McLean for sure. D'Angelo. I don't know why they're being so guarded against just being like, well, just put Schaefer on power play 1 from the get go. Like, we still have Tony running penalties. They had a couple big ones at the end of the first, and we don't need to see it anymore. We know what the floor and the ceiling is, and they're not that far apart with Tony on PP1. Every time Schaefer seems to take over from the beginning, it's great. That's how they scored the game winner against the Oilers.
Right.
Was Schaefer was on power play 1. That 2-on-1 that he had with Barzal, where he went into the boards and my heart stopped for a second, was right after a penalty kill, and he was in the forward spot, which was fun. And so, like, this guy, when he's on the ice in these kind of situations, outside of the normal 5-on-5, he makes an impact, and so just go with it. Who cares? Yeah. And as you said, I think we've kind of, we're done with the Kyle McLean experience until, hey, send him down. If he comes up and he's like a dog on a bone like he was the first time around, great. But this guy hasn't really been punished, or I should say punished, but I feel like he hasn't he hasn't been sent down or put on waivers since he got called up, whatever, it's been almost 2 years ago. And he should have been, like, he's easily been below replacement level for them. So him and D'Angelo,
if he gets claimed on waivers by Seattle or something, okay.
Oh well. Yeah, it's not a huge, like, no. If your team can't handle losing Kyle McLean, you got big problems. So I don't understand him and D'Angelo, especially since I know Romanov's hurt now, but they had like a Swedish version of Tony D'Angelo in Anna Boquist. So I don't think you're losing much by saying, all right, let's just give Boquist a shot here.
Right.
And so, yeah, there's still some frustrating things out there. Sorokin for sure has to get his act together. I think I hope he starts against the Sharks, although as we said, Big Save Dave was really good against the Oilers. Played a very normal backup game.
Yeah.
We definitely owe him an apology for the way we were, but we definitely weren't the only ones. I think everyone kind of went into the season not expecting all that much out of Big Save Dave, but he was very good. But I want to see Sorokin against the Sharks, because you got to be able to find your game against a team like that. And we'll see if it happens. But yeah, there's still some guys on watch. There's definitely some guys who've started the season really well. I'm sure we'll have enough time to talk about Schaefer for the rest of the season, but like, Barzal's been really good. Obviously Shabanov's been good. I think Kyle Palmieri's been really effective as well. So but then you got the other guys on the deck chair, the Titanic, that are a little different. But and then there's also the whatever the hell's going on with Simon Holmstrom and why he's on the fourth line. It's maybe they just have too many decent wingers. I don't know. Like, there's a lot of going on. And that's why I'm happy that they grabbed us with the 2 wins, because this is very interesting to watch. 'Cause I have no idea what to expect on a shift by shift basis, and it's much more engaging and fun to watch this sort of thing unfold when they're playing games that still matter and they're not trying to get to 1-6, right? So, keep every time Anthony Duclair steps on the ice, I keep forgetting. I'm like, oh yeah, Anthony Duclair, he's an Islander. There's also there's all these different things going on. Like Siplikov, got to get hit. I would love to see him back in the lineup, but
the line combinations have left a lot to be desired. It's early in the season still, so we could take that stuff and kind of you expect it to kind of move around. But the deployment. I mean, Heineman's been good with Horvat and Drouin, but like that kind of leaves Siplikov in a spot that's weird for him, and Holmstrom. I don't know what's going on. Like again, why not? He hasn't really looked the same, and I don't know if that's a Wah thing or him thing. I don't know, but I'm about done with some of these guys. Like, can we try Boqvist without D'Angelo? Like, is it okay to play with somebody else? Like, I don't understand. I mean, Adam Pelech has been played pretty well this year as well. And as far as Sorokin goes, I know we got to take our break, but the big thing with Sorokin is, I'm glad you brought him up because you reminded me. He hasn't looked great. Yes, the defense has been terrible, particularly against Ottawa. There was a million high danger chances. That is, a thing that he's had to deal with now for 2 seasons because this team has stopped playing defense. But the problem for Ilya so far is letting in goals that any goalie needs to be stopped. And I'm talking about the wristers from 15 feet out, like the Tim Stützle one, like the Logan Stanley one. Like, those goals need to be stopped. I know those guys are good. Well, at least Stützle is. But, like, you need to stop those because that's what makes you elite. Like, you can't just be beaten clean by a wrist shot through your legs or through your arms or whatever, because that is going to suck the life out of the building, suck the life out of the team, suck the excitement out of the fan base. You can't do that. And then the team has to crawl back. Like, if you get beat on a deflection or whatever, it's a scrum, it's a whole thing, power play goal even, like, okay, you kind of buy that. But, like, getting beat clean by wrist shots, man, you just can't do that. Like, you got to stop those. I don't know what he's trying to do out there, but you got to stop those. That's the difference between, Ilya Sorokin and like Eric Comrie this week, like, which is weird to say, right? Like, but you can't, those are inexcusable. Like, you can't just do that.
Yeah. He hasn't had a normal game in a long time, like where he let in 2 goals, but that was that. And it feels like it's just all over the place, and you're kind of holding your breath a little bit with every shot. So which we shouldn't. It stinks because we love the guy, and you just like, don't make me sad because I'm mad, right? Like, just get it together, make the saves you're supposed to, and But tip your cap to Big Save Dave, and
maybe he will start against the Sharks. I don't know, but we're gonna take our break. We're gonna talk about the Sharks game and the other 2 games next week, and then we're gonna get into some Master League Theater stuff and all kinds of fun stuff. Okay, so meet us on the other side. Thanks. And now a word from our sponsors. VintageIceHockey.com. Over 100 classic hockey logos on t-shirts, jerseys, hats, mugs, and more. Long Island Ducks, Albany Riverettes, Danbury Trashers, Kentucky Thoroughblades, and so many more. Plus a full line of Islanders Anxiety merch with our portion of the sales going directly to the Center for Dementia Research. These incredible items cannot be found in stores, so shop VintageIceHockey.com today. Relax, sit back, and enjoy wine from The Pinot Project. Rosé, Pinot Grigio, or a Pinot Noir that was named a Best Buy by Wine Enthusiast magazine. These wines are delicious, affordable, and available at area wine shops and at UBS Arena. Learn more at thepinotproject.com. And please, drink responsibly.
This episode is brought to you by Nature's Bounty. Nature's Bounty believes your body is brilliant, naturally designed to thrive, inside and out. For those always looking for new ways to support your health from head to heels, Nature's Bounty has a range of over 400 vitamins and supplements born from 50 years of trust and care. Nature's Bounty. It's in your nature. Visit naturesbounty.com to learn more.
Okay, Chad. Today you're gonna drive the all-electric Toyota BZ.
But my electric vehicle phobia. I'm not ready, Dr. Ross.
I believe in you.
Oh my gosh. We're inside it.
Try to take deep breaths, okay?
The ventilated seats, they're touching me.
You can do this, Chad. Drive the car. How do you feel, Chad?
I feel cured. Woohoo! I'm doing it! I'm doing it!
The all-electric BZ. One drive can change your mind. Toyota. Let's go places.
Hey, this is Bill Simmons from the Bill Simmons Podcast, here to tell you that Michelob Ultra, the official beer partner of the NBA, is bringing NBA fans closer than ever this season with chances to win great prizes, including courtside tickets. Enter now at MichelobUltra.com/courtside. Michelob Ultra courtside 25 to 26. No purchase necessary. Open to U.S. residents 21 plus. Begins on October 1st, 2025 and ends on June 30th, 2026. Multiple entry periods. See official rules at MichelobUltra.com/courtside for free entry deadlines, prizes, and details.
The family that vacations together stays together. At least that was the plan. Except now the dastardly desk clerk is saying he can't confirm your connecting rooms.
Wait, what?
That's right, ma'am. You have rooms 201 and 709.
No, we cannot be 5 floors away from our kids.
The doors have double locks. They'll be fine.
When you want connecting rooms confirmed before you arrive, it matters where you stay.
Welcome to Hilton. I see your connecting rooms are already confirmed.
Hilton, for the stay.
Big news. Sephora is now on Uber Eats. So if you find yourself facing a beauty emergency, like needing a last-minute gift, or you're just out of your favorite mascara, again, don't panic. We got you. Order now and get $10 off on Sephora orders of $50 or more on the Uber Eats app. Order now. Offer ends October 30th. One order per customer. Additional terms apply. See app for availability. Delivery fees may apply.
So the Islanders have 3 games this week, starting on Tuesday against the San Jose Sharks at 7 o'clock at UBS Arena. We're going to talk a little bit more about that. Then Thursday, again at home, 7 o'clock, is the Detroit Red Wings. And then Saturday, another matinee, this one at 12:30, not 3 o'clock, 12:30 in Philadelphia, the first game of a road trip. I said before that Thursday's game is on ESPN. That's actually not true. It's the game on the 30th against the Hurricanes that is on ESPN, but we'll talk about that in the next episode. So Sharks, Red Wings, Flyers. 2 of these teams are not good. The Red Wings, why don't we just start there instead? Because the Red Wings right now are leading the Eastern Conference. They have 10 points, 5 wins. They won again today. They're looking very, very good. Does that mean that the Islanders can't beat them? No, of course not. I mean, good for them. But, again, we're very early in the season. The Islanders can win that game. By the fact that it's the last game before a road trip at home means you really should try to win that game, because then you're going to go on the road, and even a team like Philly, which frankly isn't all that great, could pose a problem. And then obviously we mentioned the Sharks right now. They only have a couple of points from overtime, no wins yet. Would behoove you to win that game. So they could get to 500 with a game against the Sharks, which would be great. But it's the Red Wings game that really worries me, because those guys they're very good right now. I'm assuming they have a game before this, maybe 2, but probably at least 1. And they're firing on all cylinders right now, which is definitely not something you can say for the Islanders, even though they picked up a couple of wins. Of these 3 games, Sharks, Red Wings, Flyers, are you also worried most about the Red Wings game, or is that enormous trap? I mean, like the size of a bear trap, like 10 bear traps that game against the Sharks, which is like, oh boy, here comes the worst team in the league. We got these guys, and then all of a sudden, this is like that game against Anaheim last year where they lost, 4-0 or whatever it was.
Right,
one of the worst teams in the league. God. So, which has you the most worried? Or maybe it's the game in Philly on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, I think it's the Sharks game, because it's the first of the bunch, and I really do think if this team is going to win game or lose games like this, I should say, like it's inexcusable, and just I don't want to have to deal with the loss on Tuesday night, just being like, well, doesn't matter if they win against the Red Wings, because it's they just lost to the Sharks, so it'd just be fool's gold, and then they'll lose to the Flyers or whatever. But on the other side, if they do win, you take care of business. Like this stretch of schedule is so important, because it's 4 games that are very winnable. Yes. Like the Red Wings hot start aside, like you should beat the Sharks, you should beat the Red Wings at home, and frankly, you should beat the Flyers on the road with the way that they're going. and then it's the Bruins like in the next week before things get really sticky with a tough schedule kind of on the other side of that game. So like if this team is going to be interesting, they need to take advantages of stretches like this, because what's waiting for them on the other side is not going to be this easy. And to defend them a little bit, like the schedule that they started the season with was not easy either. They should have beat the Penguins, whatever, but then you got the Caps, who are a really good team, and the Jets, who were the President's Trophies winners. They're off to a good start again this season. So like, that's a tough bit of schedule. I get it. But this isn't. So you take, when you win these games, so when those tough bits of schedule come, you have points in the bank that we're not being like, well, they just, they couldn't find a way to beat Vegas on the road, and that's the season. This is where they have to bank some points to ease the burden of what's to come, because November is brutal, man, for this team. So if you
as it often is,
if you exactly like that's the Sharks game is going to decide whether or not November is going to be Wovember, or the Scott Gordon Wovember, or it's going to be just the white knuckle ride that we all signed up for by rooting for this team, because it's just a brutal bit of schedule. So just beat the Sharks. That's all you got to do, is beat the worst team in the league, and you can start to get the ball rolling in the right direction, where maybe we go into November being like, man, like this team is showing us something. Because one thing that they have shown us is that they can overcome a shoddy goaltending performance from Sorokin, which was something they haven't been able to do in the past. Like there's been so much pressure on him to be perfect, because hey, if you let in 2 goals, we're gonna lose. They've got some offensive chops. I think that's something to keep an eye on, is like the depth at forward, the way they're scoring. I do think that's going to be part of what's to come. It's going to be a team that might need to outscore its problems defensively more than the opposite, which we kind of got used to for a while. So I mean, just go beat the Sharks. It doesn't have to be perfect, and then we can get this. You can really start we can start the season, right? You could beat the Sharks, and then we can start the 25-26 season.
And it's times like that are what make this team very hard to root for, because you're like, well, they'll just take care of business against the Sharks at home, the worst team in the league at home. That is not a given for this team, and it hasn't been for quite some time, and that's what's made this such an exhausting endeavor, rooting for this team. Like for most teams, this would be an easy thing to do, but we have not seen that from this team. Like, just beat the Sharks. Like, it shouldn't be that hard. But, I don't even know who their goalie is right now. Is it it's somebody?
It's Askarov.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah.
So, like, he's going to – or there's another guy, too. Who's their backup? Some older guy. I can't remember now. Like, I hate this that I can't remember now. But, like, he's going to stand on his head or something. Like, we don't want that. They need a win. And just take it. I mean, this team is 0-3-2 right now. There's only one team below them in the Western Conference standing, and it's the Calgary Flames, who actually do have a win. So get in there, beat this team. And again, Detroit is good. They're a better team than the Sharks, that's for sure. But that's your final home game before a long road trip. Get in there, and you can beat them. I mean, they shouldn't really be that hard. And then, again, you're in Philly. I get that being on the road is a little bit tougher. It's a matinee, which has never been kind to the Islanders, really. But this team is not good. My Flyers fan friends are already like off the Michkov train. Like, they're like, what's going on with Michkov right now? Why does he not look like himself? So you can get in there and beat this team. And like, if we're looking at another 3 wins in a row next week, then it's a very different story. Now we're talking about a team that's 5-2 or 5-3 and poised for, again, a tough road trip through Boston, Carolina, and Washington back to back in those last 2. So that is brutal. But you set yourself up by winning these games at home, and then you can pick up some more wins there too. Yeah. So gonna be I don't want to say it's gonna be tough, but it's gonna be
tough for us.
It's gonna be tough for us as they always are. But again, both those home games are at 7:00 and then 12:30 on Saturday. Don't miss that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do we want to get to Master Leaf Theater, or do we want to talk about the Iron Man helmet first?
Let's talk about the Iron Man helmet. Because I think it kind of lends into the conversation, which is like, clearly the general like atmosphere around the team is much better. You get a couple wins, one on national TV, the Horvat hat trick, and all of that. And I think that's, to add to the Sharks game being a trap, it just gets snuffed out right away, right? The Iron Man helmet isn't as funny anymore if you lose to the Sharks, right? It's not as kitschy or cool,
right?
If you come in and lose to the Sharks, because I know, you beat the Red Wings on Thursday after you lose to the Sharks, and here's the Iron Man helmet for Barzy. Like, well, you just lost to the Sharks, dudes. Like, it's not. I don't want to see it. I want to see you guys beat these teams. So
right.
But for right now, it's great. It's fun, and I'm sure it made you, put you over the moon.
To me, this is the coolest thing ever. You guys know I love comic books. I love Marvel comic books in particular. I love the MCU. I love toys. I'm in a room right now full of toys. Some made for the adult collector, such as myself, some not so much. And when I had no idea this was happening, I guess nobody did, because they talked to the guys after the first time. But after that game against the Oilers, they put out a little video, and Anders Lee presented the first ever Iron Man helmet to Bo Horvat for his hat trick, and Bo put it on, and it's a sound activated helmet. This is I think the Marvel Legends Iron Man helmet. It looks like it's been painted and chromed in front. At first I thought it was a War Machine helmet, which is gray with the silver faceplate, but I guess they painted it, or maybe there's a black and silver version, I'm not sure. But it's voice activated, so when you say something, the face mask goes up, and so when the guys started clapping, I'm pretty sure it went off, and Bo didn't miss a beat. He put his fists on his hips, and he stood there like a superhero, and the thing went up, and it was absolutely hilarious. I don't know if his son has one or something, but I loved it. So then Horvat, as the keeper of the Iron Man helmet, handed it to the next guy, who was Anders Lee, for his game-winning goal against the Senators. So this is very much right up my alley. I love this, that they're doing this. Apparently Lee bought this. Maybe he was in Ollie's or something, which has these things on sale every once in a while. They usually run about $100, but it's not uncommon to find them for about half price somewhere. There's a Star-Lord helmet too. There's like I said, a War Machine one. There's a Black Panther one. So they all do these kinds of, they're for kids, but they fit adult heads. I think my friend Ryan from Skates at the Stakes said that that helmet is going to start to really smell after a couple of days. So that's kind of gross. Hopefully somebody's in charge of cleaning the Iron Man helmet. They don't really get into that in the movies, and we haven't really seen Tony Stark have to like clean his Iron Man suit all that often since the early 1960s. But I love it. And honestly, like, yeah, it's for me. I'm a Marvel Comics nerd. I get it. But like, I love that they brought this thing back. And I was telling my wife about the legendary leather jacket, the one purchased by Johnny Boychuk, I think on eBay back then. And it was the coolest thing. And whenever we saw somebody do an interview after a win wearing this terribly gaudy, awful 90s leather Islanders jacket with the fisherman on it, I don't know. I just enjoyed it. Like, it made the wins that much sweeter, that these guys are like really embracing the team's history and like this goofballery that really fans kind of get into. But they can get into it too. And so I know people like poo-poo this stuff. I know, one thing that drives me crazy is like when people like, they don't like something, whether it's, an album or something, what's going on. And they're like, this thing sucks. It's just like a Marvel movie. Okay, that's very insightful. I get it. Great. Good for you. Congratulations. You don't like the most popular kind of movie that's out there now. Great. Good for you. You don't have to like it. Nobody cares if you like it or not. I like them. So they can keep making them as long as I'm alive. But so some people look at this stuff as kind of lame, but I like it. Like, to me, I enjoy it. And then the other part of that is every other team's post-game thing, I think, is the lamest thing ever. Yeah. But our post-game thing is great. I love it. So it's another kind of little tribalism thing. But as a non-comic book fan, a non-Marvel fan, what did you think of it? I mean, obviously you like it too, but like, did this make you smile when you saw this? Or you're like, what is this? This is so weird. Or did you kind of grab onto it right away?
No, I was not expecting it. I was expecting you could have given me a million guesses. I wouldn't have guessed something like that. But the first video that they released was Anders Lee giving like a game puck to Matthew Darsh.
Yes.
And I was like, oh boy, if that's what's, the post game's going to look like, a little scary. But then that one came out, and as someone who's kind of ragged on the saturation of the Islanders content, this was a nice one. Like more, stuff like this is great. It's just I don't want to be beat over the head with it. I'm rooting for my team to win. I'm not rooting for like a media company, right? Like I'm rooting for the team to win. And this is part of them winning and part of the experience. And it was funny. And we talk about how you got to let these guys show their personalities. That's how you grow the game. That's how, and I think that this is actually how you do it, which is these are totally organic moments where the team is at its happiest, right? Just moments after a win. And that's when you start to see like the dry senses of humor and stuff like that. And it's not like the forced kind of staged stuff. That's when it's, they know that every player knows I'm being filmed. I'm supposed to be funny right now. I'm supposed to say something funny.
Right.
But this stuff is different, right? It's the guards are down, the hair's down, and it was great. I'm excited to watch it, and it is yes, as you said, it's incredibly grating when other teams do it. But the worst was last year. Not just last year, of course, it's the Leafs, but our man would just take a picture of who got the belt. I'm like, you can't. We don't need a dedicated beat writer to tell. This isn't for you. Like this isn't
right.
It's it feels like some of the media contingencies are. They really do think that they're sitting in a stall next to Willie Styles. Oh, who's gonna get the belt? I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's not for you. It's for the players and for the fans. And you're supposed to just be kind of in the shadows, and we're not supposed to know who you are. You're just supposed to be there to report on it and to send back the wire to the fan base. But I digress. It was great. It's fun. Hopefully that they get to give one out against the Sharks, because if they don't, I'm gonna be very upset. And like I said, that's when it gets to be like,
right.
I don't need to see it. I don't need to see you guys passing around an Iron Man helmet after you lost 6 games in a row. I just want you guys to win the games. And
right. Yeah.
So hopefully they do that, and they take advantage of a very soft bit of schedule, and get us fully invested into the season and not just confused by it.
Yeah. That's the dark side of these and any kind of, I mean, not just the post-game celebration thing, but any kind of like, team,
Initiative,
initiative or like advertising or like fun thing is like when they're losing, it's nobody wants to hear this stuff. Like,
right.
Even for us, like I know this is small potatoes, but like, when we schedule our releases and things like that, I try not to put out certain things, after certain games, because it's like if they lose, nobody's going to want to hear this. Like they try and, if they're winning, then that's okay. But if they're losing, it's different. So that's why, when teams win in the playoffs, we tend to get the like the self-aware Twitter account or something like that, because it's like a big role. But this, as long as this is done well and they keep winning, like you said, again, especially in games against the Sharks. This is to me is a fun thing, but it definitely speaks to me personally, and I would love to get my hands on that thing. Hopefully, it's it is a children's toy and it is made of plastic with some batteries in it, so hopefully it does last the entire season, because I would hate for it to like get like run over by a towel cart or something. All of a sudden, it's like, oh shit, what happened to the Iron Man helmet? Like that's bad. Somebody go back to Ollie's and buy a new one. So
we'll need to find out whatever happened to that rubber chicken that they brought home from.
Yeah, that's a different kind of thing. Is right. the totem of like luck? The rubber chicken was one. Even the Blues. Obviously, we heard about Gloria and all that kind of stuff. So, that's a different kind of thing. This is
I really thought that rubber chicken was going to turn things around for us. I was like, all right, well now they got the rubber. The gods are with them finally.
Yeah.
So
maybe it'll be the Iron Man helmet. You never know. So kudos to Anders Lee for buying the Iron Man helmet. Maybe he's a fan. I don't know. We'll see. But I thought that was very cool. And again, it's very rare that these things sort of speak to me. The David Putty jacket spoke to me too, but in more of a kitschy general way. This is very much like oh man, this is a melding of several of my favorite things. So I'm very excited to see who gets it next. And I'm excited to see whose head doesn't fit in the Iron Man helmet. Horvat said I was kind of surprised it fit my head because I have kind of a big head, but I don't think I guess if it fits Anders Lee's head and chin, it should fit most people because he's got that big chin. But we'll see how it goes from here. Okay, final thing here, and I got to tell you, before we get into this, I know we're kind of running late here, but I'm in a bit of a creative crisis with Master Leaf Theater here because I love doing it. I love doing the bit. It's a bit that I'm pretty sure only you and I could do because of our senses of humor and our chemistry together and our outlook on the league. But I don't want to like beat this thing to death. We've already done it so many times. And I again, I've been saying from the beginning, I didn't want this to be about one person. I wanted to spread it around. There's enough people writing this kind of overwritten stuff that we don't need to keep using the same person's work. However, I was not counting on Luke Fox Jukebox coming out of the gate this hot already this season. And we're only going to do this because it ties into last week's Master Leaf Theater. So if you're not necessarily a fan, I get it. I totally understand. I don't want to do this every week. I don't want to drag Luke Fox through the coals every week. I promise you, this is not my intention. Yeah. But based on, if you remember last week's episode, and if you didn't, please go back and listen to it. This ties into that. So we bring you another edition of Master Leaf Theater. Last time on Master Leaf Theater, Luke Fox Jukebox wrote a whole article about Austin Matthews without actually speaking to Austin Matthews. And he made the whole point that Austin Matthews is the kind of player who lets his play do the talking. He's not like a rah-rah talkative captain. Hey, that's okay. That's fine. That's totally cool. That's what he wants to do. That's fine. But what the subtext of that article was that Austin Matthews is not talking to Luke Fox Jukebox and does not want to and probably never will, because no quote in there was actually attributed to the captain except for like one very terse thing about, please don't ask me about my injury history. That was it. That was the only actual quote, direct quote from Austin Matthews, which is what made it such a great early season Master Leaf Theater. So now we are back. The Leafs had lost in overtime to the Seattle Kraken on Saturday night, and goalie Anthony Stolarz was not happy. He got run over in the game. He had gotten run over in a game, I think maybe against the Rangers or somebody a couple of nights before. He is not happy that he keeps getting physically assaulted in these games, and his teammates keep doing nothing about it. Did you get to hear the post-game, quotes from Stolarz and he was talking what he was talking about? Like, hey, we got to come out here and show some grit, and people who've been here long need to know better or something like that.
No, I did not, but I did know that this was a bubbling thing with the Leafs because just listening to Kipper and Bourne, I guess Easton Cowan been given a rough ride his first go round in the NHL, and I can't remember who it was, but they're like, yeah, I mean, if you're like a top Toronto prospect and your nickname is Cowboy, I think like the journeyman defenseman in the NHL is going to love to get an opportunity to like cross check you in the face and be like, hey, how's that feel, Cowboy? And so I knew that this was like a bubbling theme with the Leafs, and on the next episode of Kipper and Bourne, they even talked about how, hey, I think like, this became a story because of us in that conversation, and it got back to the team and they're pissed about it. So expect to see them stand up for one another. And I'm serious. And they're like, and you think maybe like that Saturday game against the Kraken, maybe someone will fight like right up to send a message that they are sticking up for one another. And there's this whole thing about changing the DNA of the team. And now they're like, well, do they just think that because Mitch Marner's not on the team anymore, the DNA's changed, but they're still doing the same stuff? So, and then in all of this, as you said, this is a very reluctant episode of Master Leaf Theater. I can't. It took something monumental for us to get to do it again. And if we're doing another Luke Fox Jukebox entry next week, it's because he's written something about us, or B, he just had like the Mario Lemieux game where he scored the right. goal, the even strength, penalty shot, shorthanded goal, the whole gamut. I really hope that we're not doing another one for quite a while, but at the same time, I do love doing it. But so while all this is going on, as well, the Toronto Blue Jays are in the ALCS, and they're this like scrappy underdog team that the whole city's behind. They love them. One of those magical runs that teams go on and get the entire fan base united and full throated. And one of the themes of the early Maple Leaf season is like, this is part of the problem is that this is you're looking at a very likable team right next to you doing this, and then you guys are not easy to root for, and they're not easy to like. And while these conversations are going on or being written about, I'm like, they're not easy to root for because every little thing that they do on the ice or off the ice gets written in this kind of fashion. So with all that said, welcome back to Master Leaf Theater. Hopefully we don't hear from any lawyers from Luke Fox, or like get a restraining order or something from his work.
Right. We're not joking, by the way. Like I was scouring various sites this afternoon to try and find something that we could do that, maybe was related to the games against the Oilers or the Senators. I thought for sure that Senators game would send somebody off, that like, how could you do this and lose to this team that was so bad? And it never materialized. Like even the Bouchard thing, like I got that one quote from Mark Spector, and honestly, it was kind of funny. I thought, it was like, there was nothing else that was even like this. And I was like, all right, I guess we got to do this. But sometimes we are forced to do these things that, again, we do enjoy it, but we didn't want this to become like a whole thing here. But again, Luke Fox does open himself up to these sorts of things with articles like this one. So this is from Saturday night. Well, excuse me, it's from this morning, actually. It's from the 19th. I mean, the title is Enough's Enough. Fiery Anthony Stolarz calls out Maple Leafs after loss. And it's about midway down. And again, the big thing about this is the context of last week. Last week, it was all about Austin Matthews, how he's the quiet leader. He lets his play do the talking. He doesn't want to talk about his injuries, and specifically doesn't want to talk to Luke Fox Jukebox. This time around, Luke Fox is talking about Stolarz and his leadership qualifications after this outburst after the game. And so Fox writes this. He writes, NHL clubs don't exactly have a celebrated history when naming goaltenders captain. But looking around this Maple Leafs room, one would find it difficult to point to any skater who is trying harder, summoning more early season urgency, or speaking with more leader-like passion than the veteran who just took less than market value to stick around as their backbone. We're certain plenty of Leafs aren't content after a regular season loss. None of them will allow you to feel their frustration the way Stolarz did on Saturday, though. Nowhere to be found were the, hey, we salvaged a point platitudes, or trust the process cliches. Stolarz was treating post-loss analysis the way he does one-timers without a mask, or crease scrambles without a blocker. Raw. Like, what? What? Raw? He's treating them raw? He treats a one-timer raw? What? Anyway, so that was number one. Number two, so we went from Austin Matthews as the captain because he lets his play do the talking to, hey, maybe this guy should be the captain because he's pissed off. Even though he's the goalie, right?
Yes, yeah. We're talking about however many words you want to guesstimate the article last week was, 800,000 words. And four days later, they're completely
right.
The rug is completely pulled out from under them, and yeah, there's some great stuff in this whole article about, as I said, like this is all going on in the context of this is now becoming a thing up there, that they're not sticking up for one another and everything, and so this guy, the first line, the lead of this ends with him saying that that Stolarz began to spew flames of truth. After Anthony Stolarz smashed his goalie stick to shards, he stood tall and alone at the deep end of the Toronto Maple Leafs dressing room and began to spew flames of truth. At the end of this, he goes, "Preach, Cap." So all of this is, I don't know what to make of it. Is this him like angry diary entrying about how he was supposed to write a story about Austin Matthews, and obviously Austin Matthews didn't give him anything, that now he's like mad and he's like, I'm going to be the Anthony Stolarz can be captain guy. Or is it just that this guy is so out there and his brain is completely kind of like, the wires have crossed so much from covering this team in this fashion that he doesn't realize that a week ago was praising Matthews for being a speak softly, carry a big stick type leader. And now it's Anthony Stolarz demands more gas. Like, which one do you want? And God, and so the point you're tying back to the Blue Jays is, do you want to know why this team isn't likable? Because we get stuff written like this every 2 days that we can as our shtick can kind of tear apart and make fun of and laugh at. Why do you think that this team isn't likable? It's because of because of this kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, it's. I mean, I want to believe that these are the first 2 shots across the bow in the Luke Fox, Austin Matthews war. Like, this is Luke Fox coming after Austin Matthews, but Austin Matthews probably couldn't pick Luke Fox out of a lineup. Like, he's going to go about his day as a very well-paid captain of the Toronto Maple Leafs and a superstar player. And he doesn't give one shit about what Luke Fox thinks, writes, breeds, or otherwise. Like, it doesn't matter to him. But to Luke Fox, this is, tantamount to treason, to not be, a upstanding and fighting captain of the Leafs. And meanwhile, the goalie over here, the guy getting run, he's the guy who's saying all the things that I want Matthews to say. So that's my guess, is that
Preach,
this
Cap.
is going to, just get worse before it gets better.
Yeah. So, and that's the problem, right? Like, that's the problem we're here at this crossroads at Master Leaf Theater, is that
right.
If this is going on in the background now, like we've done two bits on it, like it's going to be something we're going to have to monitor, and hopefully you don't have to dive into every week. But I can't wait. I mean, it's what's nice about this is the Leafs are off to like a ho-hum good start.
Yeah.
If they're whatever, like 3-2-1 or something in that neighborhood. So there's no reason to be ringing the alarm bell, but at the same time, it's pretty clear they're not going that well, and they are certainly not sticking up for one another as well. So like there's some really good reasons for these folks to sink their teeth into them. But the reason we're here is because one of them does it in such a bizarre fashion where the other guys are, even like Kipper, like we know who Nick Kyprios is, we know the kind of coverage he provides, we love him for just being, doubling down on the way he looks at hockey and stuff. It's hilarious, and we need more people to kind of just like go for it in that way. And he's not dressing it up like this, like whereas some of the other folks who have been on Master Leaf Theater who we've had some really good laughs at, like they're not going this far this often.
Yeah.
So there's something going on here. It's truly amazing to watch, and I can't wait to see what comes next, because they do have the fangs out, because the Leafs don't have the fangs out. So these guys must be so fed up by this point. Like you'd think that Marner leaving would have made it a little bit easier for them, but no, that just means that they've got less time to spend with Mitch Marner and more time to spend on you, Austin Matthews.
Yeah. That was the fun thing too, is like I looked for other articles about this to find somebody other than Luke Fox to do for this bit, and there was nothing. Like it was all the other coverage of this was just what Stolar said, and just like he was mad, and this is what he said, and we'll see what happens later on. So he's the only guy to take it in this extremely dramatic direction, which is why he keeps ending up as the basis for Master Leaf Theater. So I will say this: in the event that he writes something next week that is also kind of in this vein, and maybe ends up kind of being like the third in the trilogy here, maybe what we'll do is we'll record that separately and make it like sort of its own thing, and we can put that out itself, or we can just finish it here. I don't know. We'll see. If hopefully people
the ball's in his court, man. Like, and that's the problem. Like, he just keeps swishing, right? Like it's like that basketball game where you're like you shoot till you miss, and unfortunately he's not missing. And I wonder if like Anthony Stolarz read this the next day, or like heard about it and was like, God, this is not what I thought was gonna be. I just thought it was like, we didn't play well. I'd appreciate it if guys started stepping up and watching my back a little bit. Like that's what the sport's all about. And now I'm being gussied up as the shadow captain of the Maple Leafs. Anthony Stolars, welcome to the Master Leaf universe, man.
Right. Now it's goddamn Last of the Mohicans, and I'm like, lead my people into battle here. Like, what's going on?
Right.
So yeah, I don't know. We'll have to see, but we are trying to come about the Master Leaf Theater honestly here, and so if something comes up next week, we'll have to take care of it. That's in this vein, but otherwise, we're going to park this for a while because we as much as we enjoy it, we don't want to like overload the bit. So. We hope you've enjoyed this edition of Master Leaf Theater, reluctant edition of Master Leaf Theater. Okay, it's been a long episode, so we're going to close it up here. Reminder that we are on Patreon at patreon.com/islandersanxiety. Sign up for free for our weekly release calendar, announcements, all that kind of stuff. Or you can try a 7-day free trial check out our country club tier. Our theme song is Morning Haze by Family Dinner. Listen to more of their music on Bandcamp. Read Lighthouse Hockey every single day for your most up-to-date Islanders news and discussion. Islanders Anxiety Podcast is part of the Fans First Sports Network. Find us everywhere you get your podcast. Please leave us a review where you can. Shop vintageIceHockey.com. Try wines from the Pinot Project. Mike, any final thoughts from you on any of the topics we've covered tonight?
No, it's I think we did a good job of kind of getting ourselves getting our bearings after the first 5 games, looking ahead to the next 3 and trying to figure out what they need to do to continue the uplifting, to make it even a more uplifting tone next time we talk. And I'm really hopeful that it happens. And as we keep saying, I think the theme for this season might just be we're not asking for much. Just go out there and beat the Sharks and beat the worst team in the league. And that's all you need to do to kind of get us back on board. So we're right there. We're right there, almost pulled back in. And it's up to them to beat the worst team in the league to push us off the plank here.
Yeah, not exactly Mount Everest. So let's go out there and do it.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, 2 things I completely forgot. One, Weird Islanders, the podcast, is back as of last Friday. An incredible episode with the one and only Corey Schneider, who could not have been nicer, could not have given us more than he did. He was so great. And we actually recorded an episode of Weird Islanders Extra talking about how the episode came about, our experience talking to Corey. He was fantastic. It was amazing that we finally got him after all these years, and he couldn't have been better. It's a shame that he's covering the Devils now, but if I watch a Devils game, I'll know to look for him. So that was great. So check that out. Check out Weird Islanders Extra as well. And as some people have let me know, and as I heard myself, I was mentioned on 32 Thoughts, the podcast, which a DM that I had sent Elliot Friedman about the chimp from Most Valuable Primate, who skated at Nassau Coliseum and got was a little bit better than the Islanders were at that point. He read that DM on the air, which was, I think, actually really cool. So I wrote him back saying, now we need to get you on Weird Islanders, the podcast. And Lucas Spies is all yours if you're ready. So haven't heard back yet, though. So we'll see what happens. So now we've both been mentioned on the show. So
yeah. And I think that's a story that we should do some digging on, that story about the chimp at National Coliseum and see what we can find out. Maybe there's something to be told there. But
I swear he went on this tour, because I did not make this up, because I would not have remembered. I definitely wouldn't have made this story up and been telling this for like 30 years or whatever. Like, I definitely saw this happen. So hopefully somebody else out there can corroborate it for me. But that's another story for another day. But anyway, check that out too. Okay, thanks for listening. We'll be back next week with a brand new episode and covering these 3 games. And we'll talk to you soon. All right, take care. Bye-bye. Oh, sorry. One last thing. Country Club Atmosphere coming out this week too. All right, thanks a lot. Bye-bye.